Hello everybody, it's Mardax here, and today let's talk about a game probably you never heard of, or maybe. Let's see. On market there is a ton of roguelike games. Some of them are good and some of them of course are bad. It's natural, and yes, Void Bastard is roguelike game where after that you start over with some boost, like cash, points or other things games have in their setup. It's work with the same mechanic here. In Void Bastards you have scrap metal materials that can allow you to buy upgrades to your weapons or suit, also giving you new abilities that will make your game more easier. First thing is that you need to unlock something, and then you can even upgrade most of blueprints, which is kinda cool, because there's a plenty of things you can unlock. Also worth mentioning that after every map you collect resources that can craft scrap things, but more likely cogs or other needed items, and these resources came from items you will find on ship. And what ship? You're gonna ask, of course. Simple. Void Bastards is a sci-fi roguelike game where you are jumping from one abandoned or infected ship to another one, looking for specific materials and items that can help you survive. And what you're gonna find in the next map, Spaceship. And I have to tell you that game have a lot of interesting things, like for example art style. Everything is like comics graphic. Do you remember that bang shush or whoop text that happen in comics to give you some ideas about sound of punch or other thing? Here is that thing too, even if you still can hear sounds, but it's nice and that improve overall experience of gameplay. It can be even helpful, because when you are standing behind some doors you can see text of walking enemies or talking, so this is cool and it's compatible with entire art style. As a typical FPS game, it is in full 3D, just everything has comics texture, so with adding that text sounds icon and 2D sprites of enemies, because enemies aren't in 3D, you can feel like in a real comic book. One thing I should improve is adding more sprites for enemies, cause they have like only few images, so they are not that smooth. Of course in real comic book you also don't have 60 frames per second, but still it's game, so it should add at least few more images to animation, making them more smooth. In my opinion, of course. Also, second problem in my opinion is that there is a small number of enemies at all, because after a few hours of gameplay you will see them all. So in game there is 3 types of enemies. Ship security, where you can expert turrets, cameras and robots. Infected / zombies. Some of enemies looks like aliens or zombies with powers, because even some enemies look like ship crew who mutated, but mostly they are getting on ships through rifts that summon them every minute. But if you happen to find room with rifts spawning enemies all the time, you can clear the area and you can shut door to and you can lock door to prevent them from coming from that area. And locking door is fun thing that allows you to block enemies that are chasing after you, or to have safe place to get back for a moment. I use locking doors all the time. And third type of enemies are humans, and mostly I'm talking about pirates that can attack ships that you wanna check. They are hard and it's easy to die. Also when they overtake ships, locking doors takes more time and moving around ships is just hard. But getting back to death thing. When your character will die, in most games your character starts over and that's it. Here we have small explanation in comic style. Our character is just a criminal who is summoned like in that old cartoons when robot pour of the powder and add some water and poof, you have magic of creating a human. And when we are talking about new characters, it's needed to be mentioned that every character have cons and pros. Like for example, our player can be faster, or because it's old smoker, he or she can randomly cough, alarming nearby enemies. So that system of random cons and pros is cool and changes your gameplay someplace completely, like a guy who can only see everything in black and white colors. There's a few types of guns, they are fun, trust me, but before some upgrades you can have problems with finding ammo, and especially at the beginning you have to play really smart. Cause you can took with yourself to ship you wanna board only one main weapon, one secondary weapon and one supportive weapon. All weapons works better or worse with enemies, and you need to learn for which type of enemy you should have a gun. But after a few gameplay sessions you should get how this game works. Thing I'm kinda disappointed is one of the most important thing, ships. Game scheme is simple, you can use fuel to jump from one ship or even place to another one. They are connected by paths, so sometimes you can choose many roads and sometimes only one. All ships have specific colors, which indicates from which fraction they are. One is more military and second is more luxury. In any case, you can expect to find proper things in that ships. But after a few hours of gameplay you nearly played all of the ships available. Even if you add DLC with cleaning robots, still ships are mostly the same, there is no random generated locations. So ships have certain schemes, and later you can even memorize what to expect in specific locations. Of course, game is trying to make ships different, using sometimes some things that will be game changers, like ship is covered in some oil, gonna make you slide in every way, or there is a vent system damage, so nearly most of rooms are covered in smoke. Ships can have power turn off, so there is no light and you can't lock doors. And to explore and also loot things, you need to turn on power generators first. There is a few things that make every place different, but still there is a small number of it. Every ship has a specific set of rooms, and few of them will have medical bay, and other will have genetic rooms that will allow you to erase bad perks or add new ones. But some rooms are in every ship, like power room or hall, where always you will find some things that you can expect from previous gameplays. And of course, I can't forget about adding that around ships you can find loot in some places like suitcases, cupboards or other type of places where you can find items. And like in ships maps, you can even memorize easily where you should to find things. Besides normal looting, often before you will dock in ship you can see on the ship chart what type of enemies and what loot you gonna expect there. Also what kind of rare loot you can find too. So it's worth checking every room, but as I said before, it's getting a little bit boring later, cause there is not too much of different type of ships. So in overall experience, game is fun and interesting, but until some point you get nearly entitled knowledge about the game, so it depends on you if you will be sucked enough to play for more, or you will switch to another game. I spent playing this game over more than few hours, and I get most of things that are happening in game, so I will recommend checking this and trying for yourself. Also, game is kinda fun to have short game sessions, so you won't get that easily bored. But you're gonna choose your type of gameplay. Thank you for watching this video. Write your comments, your opinions. I would like to read them. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like for boost that video in YouTube algorithm. So thank you again and see you later.